The cramp that woke me up and nearly changed my life. Have you ever been ripped out of a deep sleep by a sharp, stabbing pain in your leg so intense it made you gasp for air? That happened to me. A doctor, someone who's supposed to know better. One freezing winter night, I was yanked awake by a cramp so brutal I thought my calf had turned to stone. I sat there in the dark, clutching my leg, breathless, helpless. And suddenly, I wasn't a doctor anymore. I was just another 50-something man, scared and confused, wondering what's happening to me. At first, I brushed it off. Just aging, I told myself, but then it happened again and again and again. Until one night, my wife turned to me, eyes full of worry, and asked softly, "You're cramping again. Are you okay?" And that question, that one simple question, changed everything. Because what I discovered next might just be the answer to your sleepless nights, too. Let me take you inside. A story of quiet pain, overlooked signs, and one small trick that helped me and hundreds of my patients sleep through the night again. Cramp-free, stay with me. Your legs and your sleep deserve it. Part 1. When a leg cramp is your body's quiet cry for help. Let me take you back to one winter night. A few years ago, I was sound asleep when bam, a cramp hit me out of nowhere. My left calf turned to stone. I tried to stretch it out, but the more I stretched, the worse it got. I sat up in bed, clutching my leg, breathing like I'd just run a mile. In freezing cold, and you know what? I thought at first, well, I'm getting older. These things just happen, but they didn't stop. In fact, they started showing up more and more. Once a week, then twice, then almost every single night. But what really broke my heart wasn't the pain. It was my wife waking up beside me, night after night, softly asking, "You're cramping again. Are you okay?" And even though I'm a doctor, all I could do was shake my head and whisper, "I'm fine. It's nothing." But deep down I started to wonder, is it really nothing? So I ordered some blood tests and a vascular ultrasound. And the results, they shocked me. My magnesium and potassium levels were lower than they should be. And blood flow in my legs, sluggish. That's when I realized, sometimes a cramp isn't just a cramp. Sometimes it's your body's alarm bell. A quiet whisper that says, "Hey, I'm off balance. I need you to listen." One of my older patients once said something that really touched me. She said, "Doctor, I used to think this pain was just my fate. But turns out it was just a reminder, and from that day forward, I stopped seeing leg cramps as just a part of getting older. I started seeing them as a sign, something we can understand, and more importantly, something we can prevent. In the next part of this video, I'm going to show you a simple 3-second technique that helped me and hundreds of my patients finally get a good night's sleep again. I hope you'll stick with me till the end. Because sometimes all it takes is one small change, like an extra glass of water or pressing gently on a spot on your leg, to turn a restless night into a peaceful one and a groggy morning into a fresh, hopeful start. Have you ever had nights like that? If you have, then let me walk beside you, not just as your doctor, but as someone who's been there too. Standing barefoot in the dark, holding my leg, just trying to breathe through the pain. Part 2. The 3-second pressure trick. A simple habit that changed my sleep. My friends, after realizing I had issues with electrolyte imbalance and poor circulation, I tried everything I could think of. I changed my diet. I drank more water. I even started taking magnesium supplements under the guidance of my physician. But the cramps, they kept coming back, almost like they were trying to tell me, "You still haven't figured it out." Then, one afternoon in my small clinic in Albuquerque, I met Mrs. Agnes Gray Eyes. She was 88 years old, a traditional Navajo weaver. She walked in with a cane, her hands thin and delicate, but her eyes sharp and full of light. While I was examining her, I suddenly pulled back my leg. A cramp hit me. She tilted her head, smiled gently, and asked, "Doctor, you get cramps too?" A little embarrassed, I nodded. She said, soft as the wind, "I used to have them too, but there's a spot on the calf. If you press it, the pain goes away in just 3 seconds." Have you ever heard anyone say something like that? Honestly, I was skeptical. As a Western-trained doctor, I'm used to things being backed by charts, lab tests, and prescriptions, but her words, they stayed with me. That night, like clockwork, the cramps returned. I sat up remembering what she said. I found the spot she described. A little dip in the middle of the calf, right where the two muscle groups meet. You'll notice it when you raise your heel off the ground. I pressed down with my thumb and exhaled. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3. And you know what happened? The pain, gone completely. Like a tightly pulled rope that suddenly let go, I still didn't quite believe it. But the next night, I tried again, and the night after that, every time a cramp hit, I pressed that same spot. And every time, the pain faded, as if the cramp had been gently told to leave. I started sharing the trick with my patients. One of them, a sweet 74-year-old lady named Clara Standing Bear, came in complaining about long nights of sleeplessness from leg cramps. I taught her the pressure point, and she looked at me just the way I must have looked at Agnes. Half curious, half doubtful. "Doctor, are you sure just 3 seconds?" I smiled and said. "If it doesn't work, you can come back and blame me." A week later, she returned. Her face lit up like morning sunshine. "It's amazing," she said. I pressed the spot. And since then, no more cramps. I can sleep. I was so happy I cried. Friends, that's not magic, that's science. With a little help from ancient wisdom, I later dug deeper and found that this pressure point is known in traditional Eastern medicine as Chung Shan, located along the bladder meridian, a channel believed to affect the lower legs. From a Western medical view, this spot sits right where nerves and small blood vessels control the calf muscles. Pressing it gently can relax tight muscles, improve blood flow, reduce pain signals sent through the nerves you see. When East and West meet sometimes, healing happens. So here's what I want you to do tonight. Find a quiet moment, sit down and rest one foot over the opposite knee. Raise your toes slightly. Feel the dip behind your calf muscle. That's Chung Shan. Take your thumb, press firmly into that spot for 3 seconds. Breathe out as you press. Breathe in as you release. If a cramp comes, do it right away. If not, just do it before bed. Prevent it. One small change, one simple move. But it could give you the peaceful sleep you've been missing. No sudden pain, no breathless moments in the middle of the night. Part 3. Leg cramps aren't just about aging. They're your body trying to tell you something. Have you ever told yourself, "Oh well, I get leg cramps because I'm getting old. Nothing to worry about"? I've heard that sentence more times than I can count in my career. But let me tell you a story about Mr. Charlie Blackhorse, a 79-year-old man with a weathered face, but a heart as warm as a fire on a cold night. Charlie came into my clinic one spring morning. He walked in with a bit of a limp, and there was something in his expression, part exhaustion, part quiet acceptance. I asked him, "How's your sleep, Charlie?" He sighed and said, "Not great, Doc. I wake up at 2 a.m. every night like clockwork because the pain in my calf hits me like an alarm going off." Can you imagine that, waking up every night at the same time because of pain for months on end? So I started digging a little deeper. Was he taking any medications? How was his diet? Was he drinking enough water? And slowly the pieces started coming together. Charlie was on blood pressure meds and a diuretic, pretty common for seniors, but these medications, if not balanced with the right diet, can deplete your body's potassium and magnesium, 2 minerals that are essential for smooth muscle function. On top of that, he was barely drinking water, maybe 1 small glass in the morning. He told me, "I don't really feel thirsty, and if I drink too much, I have to get up at night to use the bathroom." Sound familiar? A lot of older adults cut back on water to avoid nighttime bathroom trips, but they don't realize that dehydration is often what triggers those nighttime muscle cramps. I ordered some blood tests, and sure enough, low potassium, low magnesium, and signs of mild dehydration. The good news, Charlie had come to see me just in time. Things were still reversible. We started a simple, gentle change. I didn't tell him to overhaul his life overnight because I know change is tough, especially at his age. I just said, "Charlie, tomorrow morning, instead of drinking cold water. Try a warm glass, sip it slowly, and at dinner, instead of plain toast, add a banana. And that pressure point on your leg, I showed you. Try pressing it tonight before bed, just 10 seconds. 3 weeks later, he came back. His face was brighter, his steps were lighter, and for the first time, he smiled. He said, "Doc, and I haven't had a single cramp this past week. I've been sleeping like I haven't in years." Friends, Charlie's story isn't rare. It's proof leg cramps aren't just a part of getting older. They're your body's way of saying something's out of balance. And when we start restoring that balance with hydration, with minerals, with the smallest things like a bowl of spinach soup or a weekly avocado, the body doesn't need to scream in pain anymore. If you're getting cramps every night, I want you to ask yourself, did I drink enough water today? Was there any green on my plate? Any source of minerals? Am I on medications that might be drying me out? Don't wait until your body starts yelling. Start listening when it whispers. Part 4. Just change how you sleep, and you could say goodbye to nighttime leg cramps. Have you ever thought that something as simple as a small pillow or the way you position your legs at night could be the key to finally ending those painful nighttime leg cramps? Let me tell you about one of my unforgettable patients, Mr. Sam Waterflow. He's 81 now, but back in the day, Sam was a farmer for nearly 50 years. His legs were strong like tree trunks, but after he retired starting around age 75, he faced a whole new kind of challenge. Nightly leg cramps every night. Without fail, I first met him on a crisp early autumn afternoon. He walked into my clinic, bundled in a thick wool sweater voice, a bit raspy. He said, "Doc, I've dealt with pain my whole life, but now I just don't have the strength anymore. Every night my leg seizes up. I wake up drenched in sweat, and my wife can't sleep either. She's worried sick." I checked his diet, hydration, medications. Everything looked fine. But then I asked a simple question, and it opened the door to the real answer. "Sam, how do you sleep? What kind of mattress and pillows do you use?" And his answer, it stopped me in my tracks. "Same as always. I sleep on the floor with thick blankets on my stomach, legs stretched, straight toes pointing downward." Does that sound familiar? A lot of older folks, especially those who grew up in the countryside, are used to sleeping on their stomachs or letting their feet hang off the bed with toes pointing down. But that position keeps your calves slightly contracted for 6 to 8 hours straight. I told Sam, "You don't need to change everything overnight, but let's try this. Use a low pillow under your calves to elevate them just a little. If possible, try sleeping on your side instead of your stomach. And put another pillow between your knees." He sighed and said, "Doc, I'm old. I've slept this way my whole life. It's hard to change." I smiled, put a hand on his shoulder and said, "But if a small change could help you and your wife sleep through the night, wouldn't it be worth a try?" 2 weeks later, Sam came back. His steps were lighter, his smile a little wider beneath that silver hair. "Doc," he said, "just by changing how I sleep, the cramps have been cut in half. I'm shocked 1 month later with a few extra changes. Warm water before bed, more greens in his meals, and some light stretching. The cramps were nearly gone. Now I sleep like I'm young again," he laughed. "And my wife's thrilled too. No more jumping up at 2 a.m. to help me. You see, most people don't think twice about sleep posture, but it can have a big impact on your blood flow and muscle relaxation. When you sleep in the wrong position, circulation slows, nerves can get pinched, and muscles stay tense. And then bam, cramps strike like your body's way of saying, 'Hey, I need help down here.' So tonight, before you head to bed, I invite you to take a moment and ask yourself, are your blankets too heavy, pressing your feet down? Are your toes pointing off the edge of the bed all night, tightening your calves? Could a small pillow under your legs help ease circulation and relax your muscles? Just one small change could mean a full, peaceful night's sleep. Part 5. Gentle stretching. 3 minutes a night for a peaceful sleep. My friends, after over 30 years in medicine, there's something I've come to believe deeply. Our bodies are like musical instruments, too tight. The strings snap, too loose. The tune falls flat. That's why, just like musicians tune their instruments before a performance, we should take a moment each night to tune our bodies before going to sleep. And I'm not talking about anything complicated, just some light stretching and a simple foot massage. It's a way of gently telling your body, hey, today's over, you can rest now. I remember a patient of mine, Mrs. Louisa Stillwater, 72 years old. She was a retired preschool teacher. Every night, just as she was drifting off to sleep, the cramps would hit, suddenly like someone had yanked her out of a lullaby. Through tears, she once told me, "Doctor, I'm not afraid of getting old, but I dread the moment night falls. And I have to lie there waiting for the pain that broke my heart. But together, we found a solution, not through medication, but through something simple, repeatable, and free." I showed her a few gentle stretches I personally do every night. No equipment, no yoga mat, nothing fancy. Stretch 1. Sit on your bed legs out straight. Reach for your toes and pull your feet gently towards you. Hold for 5 seconds, breathe. Feel that gentle stretch in your calves. Stretch 2. Stand near a wall, step 1 foot back and press the heel down into the floor. You'll feel it in the back of your leg, like you're trying to push the wall away. Stretch 3. My favorite. Lie on your back legs up against the wall at a 90-degree angle. Relax your ankles, slowly flex and point your toes. This helps blood flow back to your heart, relieving pressure and calming your veins. Each move just 1 minute. Total time under 3 minutes. But the relief, it lasts all night. Mrs. Louisa gave it a try. At first, it felt awkward, but a week later, she called me, her voice light as a breeze. "Doctor, the cramps are gone, and more than that, I finally slept through the night for the first time in nearly a year." Along with stretching, I also recommend a gentle foot massage after your evening shower, when your muscles are warm and your circulation is flowing. Just a bit of coconut oil or lotion, and use your palm to stroke upward from your ankle to your knee. Not hard, just steady, and breathe deeply, and maybe even whisper to your legs, "Thank you for carrying me all these years." You see, my friends, we don't have to wait for pain to take care of our bodies. We can show our legs some love, some gratitude, with a few quiet minutes and a peaceful mind before sleep. Part 6. Your bedroom shouldn't be a place to endure pain. It should be a place to heal, We spend so much time thinking about medications, vitamins, fancy fitness trackers, and exercise machines. But we rarely pay attention to something incredibly important, the space we sleep in our bedroom. Now I want you to picture this with me. A room with soft, warm lighting, clean, fresh air. A mattress that's just right, not as hard as concrete, but not so soft that you sink in like quicksand. A space where every time your body touches the bed, it knows, hey, it's time to rest. Now I once had a patient, Ms. Dorothy Whitehorse. 75 years old, living alone in a little house. Up near the Santa Fe Mountains, every checkup she seemed to be doing fine. Eating well, staying active, but she kept complaining about nighttime leg cramps. And she had already tried everything: staying hydrated, eating potassium-rich foods, stretching, acupressure. One day I asked Dorothy, "Can I take a look at the bed you're sleeping on?" She led me to her bedroom, and honestly, I was a bit shocked. Her bed was tall with a rock-hard mattress, and the blanket was thick and heavy, like wearing body armor to sleep. But here's what concerned me most: when she lay down, her toes pointed downward, because the foot of her bed was lower and the blanket weighed down her feet. Now folks, you may not realize this, but when your feet stay pointed downward like that for hours, your calf muscles remain in a shortened, tightened position. And that's one of the biggest reasons why cramps happen during the night. So I asked her to make a few tiny changes. Slip a small pillow under her calves to lift her feet slightly, maybe 2 or 3 inches. Switch to a lighter blanket, warm enough but not heavy. And if she could try sleeping on her side instead of flat on her back. 1 week later, I got a phone call. Her voice was full of emotion. She said, "Doctor, I slept through the night. No cramps, no waking up. No more dragging myself out of bed in pain. I don't think I've ever truly known what a real night's sleep feels like until now. Friends, we often decorate our bedrooms to look nice, but forget the most important thing: comfort. If your feet are compressed all night, blood flow is restricted. If the bed is too high or the mattress too stiff, it throws off your spine and leg alignment. All of these little things can add up, and the result: chronic, silent, nagging pain. So tonight, before you turn off the lights, do me one favor. Look at your feet as you lie down. Are your toes pointing down? Feel your blanket. Is it too heavy? Try sliding a small pillow under your calves. You might be surprised how much lighter and freer your legs feel. Even after 60, 70, or 80 years, our bodies are still fragile. They still deserve kindness, and sometimes that kindness isn't a big gesture, it's just a lighter blanket, the right pillow, and a little more care for the feet that have carried us through life. Part 7. Deep breathing, a natural sedative for your legs and sleep. After more than 30 years, as a doctor, I've written more prescriptions than I can count. But there's one kind of medicine I never had to write down because it's free, it works long-term, and it's always with you. It's your breath. Sounds almost too simple, right? But don't brush it off. The way you breathe in and out each day can be the very thing that decides whether you sleep peacefully or bolt awake in the middle of the night from a sharp cramp in your leg. I remember one of my longtime patients, Ms. Julie Rising Moon. She was 76, smart, gentle, a very grounded woman. But leg cramps were her nightly enemy, every night. As soon as the clock struck midnight, she'd start to feel anxious because she knew the pain was waiting for her, somewhere in the dark. As we talked, she told me something that stuck with me. "Doctor," she said, "when the cramp hits, I hold my breath. I freeze. I don't move a muscle." Sound familiar? So many people, myself included back in the day, automatically hold their breath when pain strikes. But here's the thing: when you hold your breath, you're actually tightening up. Blood flow gets restricted, your muscles get less oxygen, and your nerves freak out even more. That's why the cramp lasts longer, hurts more, and feels impossible to escape. So I taught Julie a simple breathing routine, the same one I do every night before bed. Sit or lie down comfortably. Close your eyes if it helps. Breathe in slowly through your nose. For 4 seconds, hold that breath for 2 seconds, then breathe out gently through your mouth for 6 to 8 seconds. Repeat this 5 times. And as you breathe, picture your legs relaxing like a calm stream flowing into the sea. That's it. 1 week later, Julie called me. And her voice much calmer than before. "I still get the cramps," she said, "but now I know what to do. I breathe in, breathe out. Press the points, like you showed me. The pain eases quicker, and the most amazing part is, I'm not afraid of going to bed anymore." My friends, your breath is the bridge between your body and your mind. When you learn to breathe deeply and correctly, you're not just calming your heart rate or blood pressure, you're actually helping your muscles unwind. Especially your legs. Recent studies even show that deep breathing increases blood flow to your limbs and helps reduce the buildup of lactic acid in your muscles, which is one of the key causes of leg cramps. And the best part, it's not complicated. You don't need fancy techniques or equipment. Just turn off the lights at night, sit still, breathe slow, and you'll start to notice something beautiful: sleep coming to you. Not from a pill, but from the soft rhythm of your own breath. Like a lullaby. So tonight, I invite you to try this. Before you lie down, just sit quietly on the edge of your bed. Rest your hands on your knees. Take a deep breath through your nose and let it out slowly through your mouth. Repeat that 5 times, that's all. And in doing so, you'll be telling your body, "We've done enough for today. Now it's time to rest." Part 8. When leg cramps last too long. Don't just tough it out. It might be a warning from your blood vessels. There are things we tend to brush off as no big deal, but they might be more serious than we think. Leg cramps, for example. Most people think they're just a part of aging, something you grit your teeth through for a few minutes and then forget about. But what if they happen every single night? What if they keep coming back, even though you're drinking water, eating bananas, doing stretches and acupressure? What if both legs cramp up at the same time? or go numb after standing too long. If that sounds like you, please don't ignore it. I'll never forget a man named David Clear Sky. He was 68 when he came to see me. A quiet man, Strong used to be a firefighter in his younger days. He still looked solid on the outside, but the look in his eyes told a different story. He sat down and said quietly, "Doc, I can't sleep, my legs. They won't stay still." He described what was happening. Cramps in both legs every night. Sharp, needle-like pain running down his calves when walking. Toes starting to turn pale purple and feel cold, even when it wasn't cold outside. That's when I knew this wasn't just ordinary leg cramps. I immediately ordered a blood test and an ultrasound for the arteries in his legs. The results came back: femoral artery, narrowing, a form of peripheral artery disease. PAD. So what does that mean? It means the blood vessels that bring oxygen and nutrients to your legs are getting clogged slowly, silently by fatty plaques. And when blood doesn't flow properly to the muscles, those muscles begin to cramp, spasm, and eventually break down. If left untreated, this can lead to tissue damage, gangrene, even amputation. Scary, yes. But it's real. I started treatment right away. We adjusted his medication. We switched up his diet: less fat, more greens and whole grains. I told him to start walking 5 to 10 minutes a day and gradually increase to help build detours for the blood flow. And most importantly, don't ignore cramps. 3 months later, he came back. This time his face looked lighter. He smiled and said, "I still feel a little pain now and then. But now I know it's a reminder, not a death sentence, and I'm listening, my friends. Not everyone who gets leg cramps has a blood vessel issue, but if you notice any of these signs, please get checked. Persistent cramps every night even after doing all the right things. Cold, discolored feet or toes, brittle nails, hair loss on the legs. A prickling sensation in your legs when walking. Numbness or pain when lying down at night. I get it, a lot of folks don't want to bother their kids or go to the doctor or spend money. But listen, catching it early is the cheapest solution. A simple test could save you from major complications down the line. Don't let a nighttime leg cramp become the first step towards something far worse. Before he left, David said something that really stuck with me. I used to think being strong meant pushing through the pain. But now I know real strength is listening to your body and making a change. Part 9. 1 banana, 1 glass of water, and legs that rest easy all night. You know, when I was younger, I used to think that good health came from big things: medical technology, prescriptions, fancy equipment. But the older I get, especially after working with seniors for decades, I've realized something. Health often comes from the simplest things: a warm glass of water, a ripe banana, a bowl of veggie soup, a bit of natural salt in your electrolytes. They might sound small, but these simple choices are actually your first line of defense against painful nighttime leg cramps. I once asked one of my older patients, a sweet elderly lady, "What did you eat today?" She smiled and said, "Well, I had tea and some biscuits for breakfast, rice with braised fish for lunch. And I was too tired at night, so just a slice of bread. I didn't drink much water. Didn't want to wake up needing the bathroom." Sound familiar? A day without veggies. No fruit, not enough water. Low on potassium, low on magnesium. And by midnight, those legs start screaming for help. You see, for your muscles, especially the ones in your legs which are farthest from the heart, to work smoothly. Your body needs a balanced electrolyte system. Potassium helps your muscles contract and relax properly. Magnesium relaxes your blood vessels and prevents cramps. Calcium plays a key role in nerve signaling. And water, that's the vehicle that carries all these minerals where they need to go. I had another patient, Mr. Martin Greystone, 73 years old. He suffered from leg cramps every night, even though he ate 3 meals a day. But when I dug a little deeper, I found the problem. He barely drank water. He was on diuretics for high blood pressure. And he loved salty food, his favorite dried fish with pepper. I didn't ask him to give everything up. I simply said, "Try drinking a small glass of warm water before bed. Eat a banana or a few slices of avocado. and maybe cut down on the salty stuff in the evening. 3 weeks later, he came back and told me, "Doctor, waking up without pain in my legs, it made me feel young again." So tonight, before you head to bed, just ask yourself, did I drink enough water today? Did I eat any greens, fruits, or fresh foods? Am I eating too much salt or packaged stuff? You don't have to change everything overnight. Just one warm glass of water in the evening. One banana after dinner. Some boiled veggies with your meal. Little steps like bricks, building a stronger, more peaceful body. My friends, I'm 60 years old. I'm not young anymore. But I still sleep soundly every night. Not because of pills or machines, but because I've learned the art of slowing down and listening to my body. If your legs are still strong enough to carry you on a walk to the weekend market or into your cozy kitchen, then honor them. Take care of them every single day with water, good food, and a little love. Part 10. The end is not the end. It's the beginning of a cramp-free life. My dear friends, we've just gone on a short journey together, maybe just a few dozen minutes, but I truly believe every second of it carried something meaningful for your health and well-being. From the nighttime leg cramps I personally experienced in my early 50s, to the stories of Mr. Charlie Blackhorse, Ms. Clara Standing Bear, Mr. Sam Waterflow, Miss Julie Rising Moon, Mr. David Clear Sky, and even the simple glass of warm water before bed. All of these are real stories, honest human moments from people just like you and me. Together we've learned how to listen to our body instead of just enduring it. Try a simple 3-second acupressure trick instead of suffering silently in the dark. Drink that extra glass of water before thirst reminds you too late. Breathe deeply to calm the mind and get the blood flowing. Swap out that heavy blanket for a small pillow under your legs to give your calves some peace. Add a banana, a bowl of veggie soup, or a little tofu to feed your muscles with more than just rice. And most of all, never ignore a small pain. Sometimes it's your body whispering that something bigger is coming. I know. Many of us grew up being taught to just deal with it. Wake up at 2 a.m., rub your leg in silence, wait for the pain to pass, and never tell a soul. But I want you to know something important. You're not alone. I'm here, and so are thousands of others listening, learning, trying something new together. Now, I don't expect you to remember everything I said. Honestly, I just hope you start with one small thing tonight. Drink one extra glass of warm water, try gently pressing on the Chengshan point behind your leg. Take 5 deep breaths before lying down. Slide a small pillow under your knees. And tomorrow, maybe eat a banana or skip that overly salty dish. You don't have to do it all. Just do one thing consistently, and let your body thank you with a full night of rest, free from those painful wake-up calls. My friends, I'm 60 years old now, and every morning I sit by the window, sip some tea, and silently thank my body for giving me a peaceful night. I believe you deserve that too. Not because you're old, but because you're alive, and if you're alive, you deserve to be well. To sleep soundly, to rise gently into each new day. If this video has been helpful to you, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. It's not just a click, it's your way of telling me, "Hey doc, I'm still here. And I'm working on myself. Thank you for spending time with me." For listening not just to a doctor, but to a fellow traveler in this life. Wishing you a peaceful night and a life filled with comfort.